Hey, good morning. I'm just making sure that whoever's jumping on can get in. I do want to apologize. I don't know if you saw it already or not, but I guess my head is just somewhere else with you guys, like not coming back in person at the same time. Like it's just underclassmen this week, but I don't know. It's got me off my game because now I don't know. Anyway, so. Sincerest apologies. Good morning. I'm sorry that I did not have your packet up yesterday. I don't know. I guess I got distracted. I had students coming in. I don't have many underclassmen. It's just my first block. But the times are off. Again, that's why we had to change our Zoom times. I don't know. It just got me distracted. So I am sorry that I just now got that in there. So I say all that to say that when we go through it, and the page that I'm going to look at today in section 1 is just a fill in the blank. So if you weren't able to pull it up or you wanted to print it off, you can grab like a scrap piece of paper or something, and you could number 1 through 13 and just write it down as we go. So again, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. I messed up. And I'm ready for you guys to be here and be back. So I'm counting down the days for sure. Okay. All right. So there's 3 things on the agenda for today. 2 are kind of our norm, our IDs and SQs that we'll go over and look at for section 1. We'll talk about that section 1 page in the packet. I do want to talk about the new component that I put up, the fall STEAM project. It's 3 parts, but we do it in pieces. And I am going to go in today and modify it because I had put it in with the explanation of all 3 pieces, but all 3 pieces are due at different times. That way you guys can pace yourself and hopefully not get behind and forget something. And it goes down as a project grade and a test grade. And again, this is to help, hopefully. This is to help because this semester is midterm. And if you don't do well on midterm, then hopefully this project grade will help bring it up. Doing the study guide will bring it up. So I'm trying to cushion the blow in case. Now, I hope everybody does great. But in case somebody doesn't do good, then you have these other grades to help boost you up. Here's another thing. We are already 3 weeks into the second 6 weeks. So today and tomorrow, you're going to see me throwing a ton of grades into PowerSchool. I started on it last week and got distracted and didn't get to finish. So I got to put grades in PowerSchool, and you guys will get progress reports. You guys will get progress reports when you come in person the week of the 19th. Okay. So that's coming. So I'm going to talk about all of those pieces today. We'll start with IDs and SQs. You do have questions this week that go along with a couple of terms. So we'll go ahead and get started with that. We're looking at section 1 on your IDs and SQs. All right, so 1 through 5 are your questions. Number 1 says, what factors contributed to Herbert Hoover's election in 1928? It was his promises. I did post this yesterday. I put your PowerPoint notes up, and I actually put a couple of videos of me talking about the info. So if you listened to any of that, you heard me talking about how Herbert Hoover actually predicts the end of poverty. The mid to late 1920s, the economy was booming, and so he predicts the end of poverty. He says 2 cars in every garage, a chicken in every pot. He's pretty much saying that you will have more than what you need, that we will be having it so good that you will have more than what you really need. So here's how we can shorten that. Here's what you can put. Just put predicts the end of poverty. Predicts the end of poverty will be good enough. And so everybody's like, heck yeah, that sounds good to us, Okay, all right. Number 2 says, what was the stock market like in the 1920s? Well, it kind of depends on when you're talking about it. Like if you're talking about early to mid 1920s, here's what I want you to put. It's going up and businesses are making money. 2 things. Stock market's going up and businesses are making money. Again, if you watch my video, if you haven't done so, go in and watch it. It's under the materials section in your chapter folder. But I lost my train of thought. What was I saying? Oh, but anyway, it's going up for the wrong reasons. That's the part that's not good, because people are doing what we call buying on margin, which is part of your IDs for this unit, which means, like, let's say I want to invest in Walmart, and I'm like, hey, here's $20. Put me down for 100, and I will owe you 80. So it looks like there's this much money in there, but in reality, there's only this much money in there. So all this air is going to come crashing down. And so the stock market is about to crash at the end of the 1920s. All right, number 3, what chain of events lead to the economic crash of 1929? Again, that's when it happens, October 29th, 1929. So here's what I can put. Number 1, speculation, which is actually number 8 on your IDs if you need to know how to spell it. Speculation, buying on margin. Again, margin is number 7. Speculation, buying on margin, and banks being allowed to purchase stock. That's going to cause a problem with them, obviously. Okay, so 3 things. All right, speculation, buying on margin, and banks being able to invest. Yeah. Number 4, how did the stock market collapse affect banks? Well, I just kind of talked about that already. Here's what I want you to put, short and simple. Banks lose all they had invested. That's about as short as I can get it. Banks lose all they had invested. So obviously, the more money you invest, the more you're going to lose, right? All right, number 5, what effect did tariff policies have on the Great Depression? We go back to a time of high tariffs, which means people can't afford to buy foreign goods. And obviously, if we're not buying from other countries, they're not going to buy from us. So hurts farmers and business. That's what I want you to put. What effect did it have? Hurts farmers and business. Because there are some things that we do rely on other countries to sell us to make sure that our companies are doing as well as possible. And it is going to put a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths, you know, if they can't get certain goods that they want or would prefer over, you know, like there's not all the things that we do and make here in the United States. You know, there are some things that we do import. And it's not going to be good for business, especially farmers. It'll hurt them not being able to sell excess crops. Okay, now for your IDs, bull market, stock market's making money. That's all you need to put. If it's a bull market, that means the stock market is doing good, they're making money. So however you want to word that. Stock market's good, they're making money. It's however you want to put it. 7 with margin, we kind of talked about that one already. Margin means just putting a percentage down. Only putting a percentage down. So again, buying on margin is kind of like me saying, hey, put me down for $100. I'm going to give you 20 and I owe you 80. So only paying a percentage. 8 is speculation. Buying a bunch of stock and selling it at higher prices. A lot of speculation. Kind of makes me think of like Black Friday shoppers buying like 10 flat screen TVs and then selling them on eBay for double the price. Yeah. So speculation, buying a lot of stock and selling it at a higher cost. Black Tuesday, you can put the day the stock market crashes, but I would like for you to also know the date, because I'm pretty sure it's on a quiz. So Black Tuesday is the day the stock market crashes, but the date is October 29th, 1929. That's in your notes, okay? And then number 10 is bank run. Bank run, people pulling all their money out of their accounts. I'm sorry, there's really no way to simplify that, but customers withdrawing all their funds. Customers withdrawing all their funds. What happens, and again, if you go back through my video that I posted the other day, you can kind of listen to an explanation of what a bank run is. But rumors started that banks were not doing good, and so people started rushing in and pulling all the money out of their checking account, savings account, any accounts they had. And banks don't keep all your money on hand. You know, they don't even do that today, but in 2020, it's all in the computer, you know. So if Justin cashes a paycheck and puts $250 in a checking account, and then Blake goes in and withdraws money out of his checking account, then the cash that Justin brought in probably got handed to Blake. So it doesn't stay at the bank, but they have, again, their computer system that keeps up with everything, you know. Well, back in the day, there was no insurance. Like if your bank burns down, the FDIC has insured your bank and you get your money back. It's not gone. Whereas in the 1920s, during these bank runs, after people went and the banks have given out all the money they have, well, there's no insurance. So if you didn't make it in time, you've lost everything. You know, you've lost thousands of dollars that were in your checking and savings account or whatever, and you're not getting it back. There's no insurance policy to give it back to you. So again, think about all these Western movies where they're talking about stealing money from stagecoaches and banks. They're stealing money from other people, and those other people will never get that money back, you know. Is there any on the IDs and SQs that you guys need me to go back over before we move on? You know, since you don't have your video on, I have no idea if you're saying yes or no. Y'all know that, right?
I'm good.
Okay. Justin, did you need any repeated before I move on?
No, I do not.
Okay. All right. So like I said, I messed up on the packet. I didn't think about it until I got ready to do the Zoom, but I didn't even have it in Google Classroom. This one is fill in the blank for 18-1. So if you weren't able to open it or you needed a paper copy, I would just grab a piece of notebook paper to write the answer on for right now. Or if you wanted to open a Google Doc. Again, I'm sorry, I'm off my game this week. It's just a weird week. All right, so let's do this, and then I want to talk about that STEAM project. All right, number 1 says, when Calvin Coolidge, remember, Calvin Coolidge takes over after Warren G. Harding passes away. When Calvin Coolidge declined to run for re-election in 1928, the Republicans nominated Herbert Hoover. That's the answer. The answer is Herbert Hoover. They nominate Herbert Hoover for president, which we've already talked about. He wins. He makes big promises. He predicts that the 20s are going to keep getting better, predicting the end of poverty. Number 2 says the Democrats chose Alfred Smith, who became the first, hold on, I had it written down somewhere. Now I got to figure out where I put my answer key at. Well, I'm pretty sure it's Catholic. He's the first Catholic nominated for the president, which I feel like in 2020, that's like, what? Why is that a big deal? You know? But for the 1920s, we had been a very conservative Christian-based society. So it was a big deal that we had our very first Catholic president, or no, nominated candidates. Our first Catholic president is JFK. So Alfred doesn't win, but that's blank 2. Blank 2 is Catholic. Catholic nominated for president. Okay. Number 3, a long period of rising stock prices. Again, companies are making money, is a bull market. That was on your IDs. That's number 6 on your IDs. So bull, like the animal, B-U-L-L, bull market. Bull market. Okay. Number 4 says by 1929, approximately 10% of American households owned stock. Yeah, owned stock. That's number 4. Owned stock. And again, it's only 10%. So that's a very small part of the population. That's why a lot of people don't get affected by the stock market crash. It's the other things that get them during the Great Depression. Number 5 says many investors bought stock on margin. That's blank number 1, margin, and margin's number 7 on your IDs. So again, if you need help spelling, look at your ID list. Margins in the first blank, meaning they made only a small cash down payment with the rest coming as a loan from a stockbroker. That's your second blank in number 5. Stockbroker. Stockbroker. Okay, so margin and stockbroker for number 5. Number 6 says, if the stock began to fall in price, a broker would issue a margin call. Margin call is your answer. And I'm doing it along with y'all, that way I don't miss one. Margin call, all right? Pretty much meaning, hey, Walker, you only gave me $20, you owe me 80 more, right? So that's a margin call, demanding that you pay the rest of what you owe. All right, number 7, the stock market crash was not the major cause of the Great Depression. Just told you that. That's your answer for number 7. Great Depression. It's a lot to squeeze in these small blanks. But number 7 is Great Depression. So it wasn't the major cause, but it did undermine the economy's ability to overcome other weaknesses. Again, all these things are domino effects. You know, you're going to have people freaking out because they think the banks are failing, so they have bank runs. So all these things are little dominoes that keep hitting each other to make things worse and worse and worse. Number 8 says banks had invested their depositors' money in the stock market. That's the first blank for number 8. Stock market for number 8, blank 1. In the stock market, hoping for higher returns than they could get by using the money for loans. Loans, like a house loan, car loan, because whenever they do loans, they make money by having interest. You know, when you get a loan, you have to pay whatever, 5%, 10%, 25%, whatever the interest rate is. They make money, off that interest rate. Number 9 is a blank takes place when many depositors decide to withdraw their money at the same time. Again, that's a bank run. That's number 10 on your IDs. So number 9 is bank run. When everybody's freaking out and rushing to withdraw their funds, and then the banks collapse because they've given out all the money they had on hand and you didn't make it in time, so you just lost all your money. I mean, it's a terrible situation. Number 10, most economists agree that blank of goods was a key cause of the Depression. That's overproduction for number 10. Number 10 is overproduction. Like I said, it's all these pieces put together. So overproduction means that we're making more than we're selling. It's kind of like after Christmas is over and we have all these leftover decorations and candy and all the things, and they have to put it on sale so they can get rid of it, right? That's overproduction, right? We got to drop the prices on these goods to get rid of it, and if you drop the price, you lose profit. All right, last 3. Number 11 says many people who had bought high-cost items. Hold on, I've lost my place. High-cost items on the installment plan. I was looking to see, no, it's not on your IDs, but it is in your notes, your PowerPoint notes. So installment plan. Installment plan, again, is like, hey, I want to buy that car and I'll, put me down for paying $100 a month, right? So the same idea of kind of like rent to own today, kind of like that idea. So installment plan for number 11. It reached a point where paying off their debt forced them to reduce other purchases. All right, last two. Number 12, when sales of goods slowed, manufacturers cut production and jobs. Yeah, so again, one of those many side effects that if the company's not doing good, the only way they can keep from going under is to cut their cost. And you cut cost by cutting jobs. So you lost your money from the bank runs, then your business has to let go 25 people and you lose your job. Now you can't pay your bills. Now you're going to be homeless. I mean, it's a mess. It is a mess. It's like the perfect storm of all these things happening at one time. All right, last one, number 13. As a result of the blank, foreign countries raised their tariff rates and American sales abroad declined. As a result of the, and I'm going to help you spell this, it is the Harley, I can't spell today, Hawley, Hawley, anyway, dash smoot, SMOOT, tariff. And tariff is TARIFF. I'm sorry, guys. I'm really struggling bad today. The Hawley-Smoot tariff, where foreign countries raised their tariff rates and American sales abroad declined. So again, hurting businesses and farmers. Okay. So again, another thing that really hurts us during the Great Depression. Okay. So we've talked about all these pieces to set you up for the terribleness that is the Great Depression, okay? People losing money on bank runs, banks and businesses collapsing because of the stock market crash, people losing their jobs, people being homeless, overproduction of goods, high tariffs hurting farmers and businesses. And we're going to talk about overproduction of crops is going to hurt farmers too, and the Dust Bowl. Just like if it could go bad and happen, it did between 1929 and 1932. It's kind of where it got the worst. So if you think 2020 is bad, it can always be worse. Jobless, homeless, it can always be worse. Okay, losing your money, it can always be worse. Okay. All right, so done with section 1 IDs, done with section 1 in the packet. Does anybody need one repeated in the packet?
I'm good.
Okay, Justin?
I'm fine.
Okay. All right. Okay, so couple of things. The only thing really, because I already said that I'm working on grades for progress reports, which you'll get when you come back the week of the 19th. The other thing is your STEAM project. I put it up yesterday, and you have pretty much the whole rest of the month of October. Today's only the 6th, so I've given you essentially 25 days, a little over, because I think the last part's not due until November 3rd. So just about a whole entire month to complete all 3 pieces. And good news is when you guys come back in person, we will work on and talk about a lot of these pieces when you get back in person, okay? So I think what I'm going to do today is go back in and set it up as 3 different individual assignment pieces so that nobody gets confused, and makes sure that you turn in the pieces on those due dates. Part 1 is going in, picking out a person off that Google sheet that I made. It is editable, so you can go in and type your name in beside the person that you want. First come, first serve. So if you get on there and the people that are left you don't like or don't want or don't know, whatever, then that's what you got stuck with. Pick a person off the Google Sheets, and right now you're working on part 1, which is researching your person. You will need to find enough information on your person to complete a 2 to 3 page paper. Please make sure to save or document your resources, because you will have to include a works cited page. And no, the works cited page is not part of the minimum 2 to 3 page requirements. So that is part 1, and part 1 is going to be due the 21st. So it's going to be due the end of the week that you guys come back in person. So I do need you by that point in time to have picked your person, have researched and found information, and if you need help putting your paper together or making a professional MLA formatted works cited, I always use citationmachine.net. because that's quick, fast, takes 2 seconds, and it does it for you. So if you need help on putting the finishing touches together, we will have that week to work on it. And then we'll be together in person for the rest of it. The second piece is using that information from your research and putting it together in some type of display model. Now, if this is a normal school year, you guys would be making display boards and setting it up for Monster Night. Obviously, we're not having Monster Night this year because of COVID, but I've modified it to give you some different options, so it doesn't have to be a display board like the picture example that I posted with it from last year. Because since we call it Researching the Dead, we made our boards look like tombstones. It was creepy. It went along with Monster Night. So you don't have to do a display board. You could also choose to do a Google slide presentation, 12 to 15 slides minimum. Or if you would rather do like a TED Talk video talking about your person and everything that you learned about them, I think that would be a really cool option too. And that piece is not due until the end of October, that Friday before Halloween. So you've got time to come in. We can bounce around ideas. If you need supplies, if you need art supplies, you've got time with me to where I can get that supplies for you. And look at other examples if you want some more examples. And the last and final piece is not due until November. And that is having some type of 3D components. I've had students make something. I've had students dress up like their person. I've had students to write or create. I don't know. I'm trying to think of good examples. The example from last year that I posted, and I've got more that I could show you. One person that did Satchel Paige. Satchel Paige was a famous baseball player. He was a pitcher or first baseman, I can't remember. But somebody brought in a baseball bat and glove and ball, and those were his 3D artifacts to go along with his person. So those are all options, So if you need help trying to think of what you could do, if you don't want to make something, you don't want to dress up, there's plenty of other options, okay? Woo! I just broke my chair. Look at that. I just broke it. Okay. Anything before we stop for today? Questions, comments, concerns? Again, I get to see you guys in about 10 more days.
Good.
Okay. All right. Good deal. Justin, you okay?
I'm fine.
Okay. I didn't check to see if your mom had come by yet, but I do have your paper copies if she hasn't come by yet for you to pick up.
I have the packet.
What?
I have the packet.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Good deal. All right. Well, unless you need me for something, we'll call it a day and we'll keep getting at it tomorrow. Okay. Bye.